After the Neo Egoist League is the World Cup, confirmed by Jinpachi Ego himself. The top 23 players will be selected for the team to finally win it for Japan and set history. So I'm going to break down each player that is being selected. Now with Isagi literally declaring in chapter 284 that he will bend history to his will and the next World Cup is mine in front of millions of fans, the stage has been set for our MC to become the greatest. Ego stated that the final form of Isagi is ready for the World Cup, and it was all according to his plan. He wanted to create the greatest Ego ever, where him, Sagi, is that very person. But it's not only that, even Noel Noah, the best striker in the world, stated Isagi can catch up to him after he unlocked his true power. After aura farming and literally roasting Loki and his sensei in front of the whole world, it's clear why Isagi claims the top salary at the end of the Neo League. He's already proven himself time and time again, and the final showdown against PXG showcased his evolution. The more you score, the higher your salary rises. But it's not just about quantity, it's how you score that makes all the difference. Your overall impact in the game is also important, like assists, defense, tactical plays, and even emotional moments on the field that adds to your value. Clubs worldwide saw that Isagi has the confidence to take on anyone when he talked smack and trash to Loki and Noah, which further cements his value. Essentially, if you contribute to your team's success, you'll see a boost. Currently, Isagi has a 150 million yen salary, but after the PXG game, the final salary of 250 million will be achieved. Isagi has already put one past PXG's defense, and he managed to shut down Destroyer Mode Rin, which annihilated the entire team. In chapter 275, Rin surpassed Sae Itoshi for the first time, with Isagi being the one that put his life on the line to challenge him. Isagi developed his meta vision to match Kaiser, who is part of the World 11, proving his international status, and his other weapons like the 2-gun volley or being able to shoot with his left foot, making him even more dangerous. Even Sae told us that Isagi is the heart of Blue Lock in the under 20 game, and he secretly pushed this rivalry to ensure they would develop. On top of that, teams bidding for Isagi would want him as he adopted Snuffy's mindset. Unlike other Blue Lock players who play ball for themselves, he realized that teamwork is also a thing in football. So he teamed up with Kaiser to finish off the game in victory. This is necessary to win a World Cup, and Isagi adopts Snuffy's ideals that focusing on teamwork and collective effort is also valid. His strategy revolves around players fitting into a system where their individual strengths contribute to the team's success, rather than chasing for personal glory. That's why in chapter 288, he isn't angry at Yukimiya using him as bait to score a goal. In fact, Bastard Munchen is undefeated in the Neo League, thanks to Isagi's efforts, where he helped unlock other players' weapons like Hiori and Igarashi, where like a captain, he rallied with Hiori or Kurona to dethrone Kaiser, who lacked that quality. Overall, he scored 3 goals and had assists, so it's clear why Isagi earns a 100 million yen boost, just like he did after the Ubers match. Therefore, Ego Jinpachi will have no choice but to pick Isagi for the World Cup and probably make him captain. But another player that is a no-brainer for this choice is Rin. Let's be real, Rin is technically superior and better than Isagi in many ways. His Destroyer mode completely overwhelmed Bastard Munchen, and he even scored a goal in the process. Bro, it wasn't even normal. He destroyed the defense all on his own and did a free kick in mid-air. But he could have had another goal, where he stopped himself because it wouldn't surpass Sae. This would have got him banned by FIFA and probably diminished his salary bids from clubs. Rin has the ability called puppeteering that lets him understand all strengths and weaknesses of people on the pitch, pitting them against one another to serve him like a dog. Now in the Neo League, he scored a hat-trick against Manchin City and isn't afraid of cooperating with his team to create chemical reactions. Most of these goals are impossible for others as he has perfect kick accuracy. Isagi mentioned that Rin could potentially actually score from anywhere within a 35-meter range, including from free kicks and corners, making it higher than Barou. However, just like Isagi, Rin has his own spatial awareness, which was stated to be on a level where only Isagi could understand. But Rin's total destruction with his awakened power, it's next level. He states that a player that brings him torment, someone that is stronger and is an ultimate egoist looking down on him, it's what triggers his power to destroy, which led to Kaiser claiming Rin has the best individual skill level in the entire Blue Lock program. It took everything Isagi had, including teaming up with Kaiser to finally shut Rin down. That alone proves how dominant Rin can be on the field, where Loki initially believed he could be the hero for Japan. Currently, Rin has a 198 million yen salary, but after this performance against Bastard Munshin, he's matching Isagi near 250 million. At the end of the day, it's a clash. Rin's raw genius talent versus Isagi's learning ability to evolve, matching it, established in chapter 286. So one thing is for certain, these two are setting the standard for Blue Lock's future and winning the World Cup. Just like our next player, Barou, whom Snuffy and Noah believe to have the potential to be the best overall striker. He is going to the World Cup and is a contender to be captain. With Ubers having completed all their games, Barou's salary is locked in at 150 million. No one else in the league embodies the title of king, or should I say captain, like Barou does. He has consistently delivered, scoring in every game and having a total of 7 goals, which is joint most in the entire Neo Egoist League. He wants to become king that sits on the throne, where he even called a genius like Nagi a peasant in chapter 245. So in the Ubers vs Bastard Munshin match, Barou scored the second equalizer, charging everyone and going up and down the field at an insane rate. Remember, even Isagi was dumbfounded when Barou shot more than 29 meters away from the goalpost. But during the Neo League, Barou increased the range and curve it even more. This is ridiculous because in chapter 166, the same shot range for Isagi only has a 2% chance of getting into the goal. Every single player in Uber only follows his lead and makes plays for Barou. He heightened their morale to follow when they started losing a match. He basically forced the team to follow where he scored a goal, proving he's the very best. His predator eye power is the complete opposite of meta vision. Instead of seeing the bigger picture like Isagi, Barou zeroes in on the goalkeeper like a hawk. This worked perfectly with his nutmeg goal that destroyed everyone. He managed to score a goal by nutmegging Isagi, Kaiser, and Snuffy at the same time. And you know someone who would have busted nuts doing that? Our next World Cup player, Shidou. He's worth 100 million yen and it increases further. Overall, Shidou's performance has been less than what everyone expected, but he managed to score a goal for PXG. His goal deserves recognition and contributes to a salary bump, but his influence on the game pales in comparison to players like Rin. But despite that, he has scored 4 incredible goals in the Neo League. In chapter 169, PXG beats Ubers 3-2, and we witnessed something previously impossible. Rin and Shidou played together on the same field. And remember, even during their intense training at Blue Lock, it was impossible to make it work in a formation. Yet, here they are, working in sync, defeating one of the most defensive strategic teams in the league. Shidou has an insane ability to position himself at a critical point in the penalty area and score goals that most players wouldn't even think to attempt. Ego said before the league that there is no one in the Blue Lock program that can handle him, and later on, he's considered one of the best with top tier stats, being matched up to Rin and Isagi in the Neo League. This is proven in chapter 287, where he is marked by 3 people, yet he still manages to pass the ball to Rin to ensure they have possession, where he agrees to work together. Like, my guy's strength alone was enough to make Igarashi feel like his skull was getting getting crushed, and he was able to compete with Kunigami. But then, when you combine this with his awareness, you start to see why he is needed for the World Cup. Shidou's spatial awareness is always focused on the objective, where he can see the goal anytime he is in the penalty box, even when he is not physically facing it. He can use every part of his body to its fullest, enabling him to pull off amazing rare athletic feats with his drive shot weapon. Sae recognized his power, and Shidou evolved to the point that he matched up to his world-class ability. But eventually, he had a true ego awakening, allowing him to smell goals others can't. The Big Bang drive from outside the penalty box is still one of the greatest goals in the manga. This skill continues against Isagi, where Shidou scored the exact super goal he did. Without even looking at the ball, he did a chemical reaction with Charles catching his pass. And later, he is keeping up with Rin, where we see in chapter 274, where they have awakened, he almost steals a goal from them, showcasing how Shidou's skill matches up to devour each other. Coming in next is Bachira. Currently, he holds a 79 million yen salary, but it can cross 100 million yen by the end of the Neo League. Let's be real, this dude is carrying the team because Levinio didn't bother training them, only gravitating towards Bachira to unlock his Ginga style. He is essential in the World Cup because he can destroy everyone with his creative dribbling. Even Isagi said it would be impossible for him to outright steal the ball one-on-one. Bachira's basically the embodiment of Neymar and Ronaldinho, and in the Neo League, he unlocked a new power, moving away from proactive dribbling to more counteractive dribbling, preferring to read his opponent's movements first. Levinio taught Bachira in chapter 160 about Ginga from Brazil. He ends up copying all his moves, evolving to make his own style, which he calls the monster. He gets so good that when dribbling, it's as if he has infinite options without moving forward at all. However, Bachira, he's a perfect winger for the World Cup, as he has excellent passing, proven with his long balls that range 60 meters. He even has quick crosses that assisted Rin's goal against the World Fight. On top of that, there's the heel lift pass, which avoids the press from his opponent, and a B shot, which is too fast to react to, where he ended up scoring 4 goals in the Neo League. World Cup players will have meta vision, but that's no problem for Bachira, as his flow state is overpowered that he becomes unpredictable even to those with that ability. But speaking of unpredictable, Nagi will also be selected for the World Cup. However, he isn't going to be in the starting 11, and this is due to his performance, but he can do miracles when needed. In the Neo League, he's only scored 1 goal, but in the final game against Barca, he knocked more out. His current salary is 40 million, but bumps up higher. In the Neo League, his trapping ability evolved beyond anyone's level of power. Isagi said his play went beyond his vision, and his fake volley was insane. Nagi plays much like Bergkamp, where he scores impossible looking goals in unfavorable positions, even whilst under pressure by the defense. He can transform any kind of pass into a potential attack, no matter the quality or attributes. However, in the Neo Egoist League, he's having severe problems, bro. Chris Prince, he refined Nagi's ball control further with a new technique called the black hole, which completely kills the ball's momentum due to Nagi's muscles. He can now trap whilst being pressured by 2 defenders and move at a fast pace called a zero reset turn ability. This would work great against defensive based teams in the World Cup, as his flow state unlocked 2 more weapons called the 2-stage fake volley shot and the 5-shot revolver. Once he masters flow, he will be unstoppable, because in the entire league, Nagi scored the best goal of all. When Henri first saw it, she described it as a miracle, but Ego suggested it was a move possible because of flow state. Later, the 5-shot revolver was so astounding astounding that the combined defensive forces of Kaisa and Isagi couldn't stop it. And on social media, the shot is described as the goal of the century. Jinpachi Ego stated it was a goal that can never be recreated because it went above Nagi's talent. However, since he's a natural born genius looking to unlock his true power even now, it's inevitable that he will perform a miracle yet again in the World Cup for Japan just to prove everyone wrong. However, unlike Nagi, someone who will be in the starting 11 is Chigiri. In round 4, he's valued at 55 million yen, but this increased by the end. After all, he's scored in almost every match he has played as a right back, a defensive player for God's sake. Now in the Neo League, he created a weapon called 44 degrees Red Panther Sniper, which lets his counter attacks produce results with his insane speed. For Chigiri, the perfect shot is 19 meters from the goal, 44 degrees left, where in his match against Bastard München, he completely overwhelmed them. We saw him cover 50 meters in 5.77 seconds, and he uses this power to pass to himself. Chigiri has even sped past Oliver Aiku, the #1 defender in the league. He's perfect for the World Cup because he can create space using Jungle Jam Run ability, which gives Isagi and Rin more goal paths to see within meta vision. So it's easy to say that he's the perfect right back Ego would need. Leading me on to another perfect choice for defense, Oliver Aiku. He is easily Blue Lock's best defender with a 60 million yen bid. Aiku is considered one of Japan's brightest talent, being the captain of the under-20 team, as well as already having an offer to play for an Italian professional club before the Neo League even started. However, once it began, Aiku showcased exceptional defensive ability. In flow, he can see and even feel the critical points in his team's defense, enabling him to move ahead of the game and cover those weak areas. Flow also improves Aiku's one-on-one defending, being able to completely shut down players by reading every possibility, just like he did against Rin, the #1 player. On top of that, Aiku unlocked metavision, people, being able to use his analysis on the most likely play and stopping them, just like he did against Yukimiya. This dude is such a good defender that he analyzed Isagi's power, and at various points of the Uber's game, Aiku was able to outread Isagi and Kaisa, beating them to various loose balls. So he not only anchors the defense, but orchestrates it, ensuring Uber maintains their disciplined structure, and this makes him a perfect choice for Japan's World Cup team. And another player just as reliable is Kunigami, who is part of the wildcard program. He scored 2 goals in the league and has a bid of 50 million. Kunigami is definitely needed in the World Cup because he's a high-powered left-footed shooter which could help with formation, as it's rare for a striker. Jinpachi Ego won't let go of him because he's trying to recreate another Noel Noah, with multiple experiments occurring on Kunigami. In the Neo League, his body has improved so much physically that his cardio, muscle mass, and overall fitness all approach the world's best. One of his weapons is having super strength, marking Shidou like a dog, beating him in all aerial clashes and stopping him from scoring throughout the PXG match. He's a regular for Bastard München and is strong enough to trap the ball whilst 2 defenders are trying to hold him back. And through the wild card, he is now ambidextrous, which is the ability to use both his feet to score goals. For example, the weapon called Shot Fake Cut In, it allows Kunigami to fake a shot with either leg. This forces defenders to attempt to block him, and then he cuts past to set up a real shot. Isagi commented on how this ability has led to Kunigami being a constant threat to the defense, calling him a perfect striker with no weak spots. So with this power increase, he can utilize his finesse shot and knuckle shot with crazy range up to 40 meters. And on top of that, his ego awakened, which allowed him to assist Isagi's goal against Barcha, and these feats guarantee his World Cup selection as he's always ranked in the top 10. But there's another player who will be in the starting 11, named Aryu, who plays centre back and is valued at more than 45 million yen, reaching the top 10 bids. My man is a giant. 6'5", and this gives him insane jumping power, which allows him to reach aerial balls from a higher position than most other players in Blue Lock, even using his chest to trap the ball. This stops goals from long balls and also makes him an ideal target for a cross to score himself. Now, because of his height, he specializes in the air, which is very important in the World Cup considering international players are generally bigger than Japanese. We have seen Aryu receive balls in mid-air, which overcame Nagi and Chigiri's defense, scoring a goal. Essentially, his best ability is long reach, which allows him to get the ball at a distance that his opponent cannot match. Remember that my guy stopped Sae Itoshi's shot during the final minute of the first half in the Japan U20 game. That's someone on the world level playing for Real Madrid. Therefore, Aryu is the perfect pair with Oliver Aiku for Japan's defense in the World Cup. But let's move on to midfield. Ryo is a chameleon necessary for the World Cup. This dude almost ranked in the top 10 of the Neo League every round, but is only going to get better. He has a bid of more than 34 million due to his multiple assists and is a perfect substitution that you can ever ask for. Now, why ABD? Why is that the case? Well, he can play any position and copy everything to a 99-point skill level. Imagine if one of your players get injured or sick, like Chigiri for instance, and let's say you want to change formation. Ryo is the perfect guy to let that happen. He is able to copy anything other players have demonstrated. So imagine if he copied the Kaiser Impact or even Rin's free kick in mid-air. His overall rating is 85, having an A rank in every aspect of being a striker. Ryo unlocks several weapons using Chameleon, inputting metadata within himself to copy. The only downside Isagi notes is that the copied ability will always be inferior to the original because the power maxes out at 99%. But even still, Noel Noah said he was a midfielder who creates countless opportunities. This is because of his plays. For example, Ego put Ryo in defense during the U20 match, where he copied total defense from Oliver Aiku and others. This resulted in him being capable of stopping Shidou. But that's not all. He even traps the ball like Nagi, passes like Bachira, scores a goal using techniques from Yukimiya's gyro shot, and perfectly breaks the defense with Itoshi Sae's pass. Like, this dude is completely busted, where he almost scored a goal within the first few minutes of the Boston München game. And to top it off, Ryo also has Metavision, which enhances his impact on the game and keep up with plays that Isagi or Rin make, where we know he loves to create chemical reactions with his teammates. Like right now he's chummy with Nagi, but in the World Cup he would pick the correct striker to link up with to score goals. However, someone who isn't chummy with anyone is Yukimiya, our next World Cup player. This dude believes God gave him a purpose to play ball and wants to prove it correct, that even though he's going blind, he can achieve a dream that is beyond what life expected of him. He's scored 1 goal in the Neo League, but has played in every game, proving his worth, getting a 36 million bid, which only rose by the end. Against PXG in chapter 288, we learned that his dribbling allows him to get anywhere on the pitch to score a goal. This is because he's dubbed the one-on-one emperor, where it's impossible to beat the dude if he has possession of the ball. He's good enough to beat Rin and then Shidou whilst doing this. It is suggested that at least within Blue Lock, there is no player he cannot dribble past. This is because he knows street football, which is essential in the World Cup since many other international teams will introduce new weapons. Street ball allows Yukimiya to be more precise and cut into tighter spaces that other players can't, therefore unlocking the best path to take to destroy the defense. He proved this against Manchin City, where his flow state allowed him to defeat 5 defenders. However, what lets him score is his gyro shot. It gives the ball an insane spin that curves left or right in a split moment, which makes it difficult for the goalkeeper to block. He can can use this at an insane range, matching Barou, where Ryo mentioned he can score from 30 meters with it. But in the Neo League, he increased the power level of this weapon by inventing the sword screw. This creates a horizontal rotation, causing it to drop drastically to the ground. Ego cussed him out in chapter 196, stating he was glad Yukimiya missed because his ego is too big for what it's worth. However, in the PXG game, he's proving him wrong, as Yukimiya is helping Bastard Mushin win in the final few minutes. Just like how Karusu is doing on the opposite end for PXG. This dude fits right into the starting 11 for Japan's World Cup team as a center midfielder. He boasts a 35 million yen bid, but it will increase due to his performance in the game against Bastard Mushin. Just like Isagi, he awakened his ego, where our MC realized he is a adaptable, talented learner just like him. This allowed him to stop the 2-gun volley by Isagi that would have ended the game in victory for Bastard Mushin. But it's not only that, Karusu also stopped a goal from Ness in chapter 289, where Kaisa cussed that dude, roasting him out, telling him to quit football for being so useless. Then, Isagi claims that Karusu can stop other talented learners as he's keeping up with their logic, which means they can't score via normal means anymore. However, he's also a team player. He even assists Rin in chapter 87, where Igarashi had to resort to a foul to stop Shidou and from them scoring. Now, the reason this dude is so powerful is due to his sharp analytical ability. He has a reputation for targeting an enemy's team's weakest link and focusing his plays against them, as stated by Hiori. His analytical ability was at such a level that Ego made the decision to position him as the defensive midfielder of the Blue Lock 11 to act as the beating heart of the team, transitioning from defense to offense. Like, remember when he organized an attack with Otoya and Chigiri to break through the defense, leading to Blue Lock's second goal in the U20 game? So he's a perfect midfielder for Ego to pick in the World Cup, as unlike others, he uses feints to control space with his hands and shifting the opponent's center of gravity. This skill was displayed in the Neo League, with him using his ball control in the midfield to lure in multiple players like Hiori and Kiora and then feint into passes. Combine this with his meta vision and we got a solid player on our hands. And the next midfielder that is just as solid is Niko, who has a bid of 40 million. Niko's a ball-winning centre-back, where he relies on his ability to read the game rather than brute strength. His keen vision enables him to intercept plays at their source, eliminating threats before they escalate. Niko's spatial awareness rivals Isagi, allowing him to analyze the entire field, predict movements, and disrupt high-level opponents like Sae and Shidou. Now, in the Neo Egoist League, Niko's skills have evolved further, showcasing his ability to intercept and steal the ball from top players, but most notably is when he managed to intercept Sae Itoshi's passes twice. And next up is Otoya, who has actually scored a goal in the Neo League as the right winger for Barca. In round 4, he's ranked in the top 10 with a 42 million bid, which secures his spot for the World Cup. His unique style of play revolves around exploiting blind spots created by the positioning of players using the weapon called the Ninja Stealth Walk. It allows him to bypass unnoticed into optimal positions, especially when paired with strong playmakers like Bachira, who draw attention with their dribbling. Otoya's infiltration into the other side of the pitch sets him apart from Chigiri, for example, as their speed relies on open straight line sprints, right? Whereas Otoya excels in curved line movements through narrow spaces at top speed. Even when blind spots are unavailable, he creates his own by reading the field and ensuring he's always a step ahead, which makes him pretty good for a right winger in the World Cup. But you know what's even better? A striker suddenly becoming one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Gagamaru is a no-brainer, as he's developed insanely well in the Neo League. In round 4, he's worth 32 million, but this goes way higher after his performance in the PXG game. Why, you may ask? Well, this dude awakened and stopped one of the most insane shots ever. Gagamaru's height and flexibility combined with his natural reflexes make him well suited to be the #1 goalkeeper. He's capable of reaching both ends of the goal, which lets him save shots that seem impossible. My guy stopped Ryo's powerful shot during the Manchester City game. But that's not all. Gagamaru has successfully stopped top tier scorers like Rin and Shidou, proving his reliability under pressure. He can do this thanks to his unique spring-like body that allows him to propel himself in any direction. It even unlocked the scorpion kick we saw the infamous keeper Rene Higuita do for Colombia. And I definitely butchered that name, but I remember downloading this video back in the day when I was a kid online. It went that insanely viral. Now, Gagamaru also showed the ability to read the ball's trajectory and react to it, as seen when he stopped awakened Barou during the match against Ubers. Like, I can't glaze this guy enough. The reason Bastard München is undefeated in the Neo League is partly thanks to him.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Where Gagamaru's awakened flow in the PXG match makes him perform even better. This allows us to witness feats like the bear claw deflection, stopping impossible shots on goal. However, since every team needs a backup goalkeeper, that would be Gen Fukaku, who plays for Manchester City. And another player who is going to be a bench warmer is Hiori, likely being selected for the World Cup thanks to Isagi. By round 4, he's worth 20 million as a right back. However, the story boasts a big reason why he's required. Hiori is a playmaker with his passes, and he utilizes that as a means to shadow Isagi and his plays. He supports him throughout their shared vision, minimizing the time it takes for Isagi to strategize and increase his play speed on the fly. This is a necessity in the World Cup, as it would work with players like Rin, Shidou and Barou. Think about it, Isagi and Hiori achieved something that no one in the manga thought was even possible. A goal where they didn't even look or talk to each other. He just passed a long ball with Isagi meeting the end of it, shocking everyone into disbelief that a goal like that was possible. Just like Charles is for PXG for instance, Hiori is also a playmaker with his cool-headed vision ability. It allows him to assess the entire field and create optimal plays. He utilizes first touch passing, key passes and no-look crosses to unlock defenses. However, metavision is the most important reason he's required for the World Cup. It's like a necessity at this point. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to shadow and complement Isagi's strategies in the first place. This brings me on to another player that became Isagi's foot soldier and agreed to let him take the crown of Kaiser, none other than Kurona. He has a 34 million bid and always ranked in the top 20 every round as a right wing back for Bastard München. Since Chigiri is left wing, we need someone for the other side that is just as fast as him for some World Cup formations. Kurona has shown us that he's capable of catching up to high speed passes sent by Isagi, as well as marking the fastest players in the field, such as Chigiri himself. So if Ego wants to do a high press tactic, it can work thanks to these two. However, there's one player we have to mention without a doubt. I can't do this entire video without mentioning his name, and that is Itoshi Sae. Ego has to contact this guy to join the team, I'm telling you. He is interested in Blue Lock after all, staying for the under 20 game and motivated Rin's rivalry with Isagi on purpose for the sole reason of making them better for the World Cup. However, Sae views Japan as stagnant, emphasizing teamwork and harmony over individual brilliance. This focus on collectivism frustrated him, as he believes it limits the potential to produce world-class players, in particular strikers themselves, who are vital to complement his skills as a midfielder. Sae's ambition to be the best midfielder in the world drives him to Europe, where he can compete in a more challenging and competitive environment. He feels Japan's system lacks the infrastructure and mindset set needed to support his goals. But after seeing the results in the Neo League, where Rin and Isagi's true power and ego awakening set the world ablaze, millions of fans are watching, believing they are really good. So Sae must feel like they are ready to finally set history by winning the World Cup. I mean, Rin surpassed Sae for a moment in the Boston München game, which was his plan all along. Witnessing that, he has no more excuses to think that the Blue Lock program hasn't changed Japanese football. Ego would be busting nuts to pick Sae for the World Cup. The dude is a monster in everything he does. His elite skills are developed in Europe, placing him leagues above other players with metavision, flawless reflexes, flawless dribbling, and unparalleled passing. He controls the entire game effortlessly. Ego is running out of spaces since there can only be 23 players. So these are the guys that can make it due to their unique positions or weapons. Igarashi is a goner, thanks to chapter 287, where Isagi says his goodbye and thanks him for getting him so far. He didn't get a bid at all in the Neo League, so he's hoping for a miracle. Now, even though he stopped a few goals with his weapon that draws out fouls in favor for the team, he failed to stop Shidou and received a yellow card. Noah embarrassed him in front of everyone, telling Igarashi to get off the field before he ruins the game. So it will be shocking if any clubs would want him, unlike our next player going to the World Cup who has proven his worth, Ryuichi, who will be a substitute defensive midfielder. By round 4, he has a bid of 18 million thanks to his performance in the Uber game. He's like Park Ji-sun when he played for Manchester United or Makelele for Chelsea. This is because Ryuichi's stamina seems limitless, which allows him to continue playing at optimal capacity, which combined with his man-marking ability makes him a constant threat in both defense and offensive plays. Even during the Neo League, Ryuichi's stamina is still higher than everyone, where Noah recognized him and asked him to become the heart of Boston München's formation. Ryuichi can make himself a real problem to his opponents, which combined with the pressure he puts them under, sometimes even provokes an illegal reaction from them, as demonstrated when he provoked Rio into fouling him and receiving a yellow card. So again, why would you want Igarashi over Ryuichi for the World Cup? He even has an ability called Stalking Horse Defense, limiting himself to an area of 2 meters. This lets him force even Mark Snuffy of all people to pass the ball. That's the greatest overall striker in the world too. That means Ego will definitely need someone like him to shut down insane international strikers. As for the others like Sendo, who has ranked in the top 15 and has scored a goal in the league, he plays the second striker position, so he is unlikely even needed since there are so many other players better than him. Nor is there any feats of success that we even witness in the manga. Even Nanase would at max be on the bench as a winger only due to his ambidextrous ability, but he too hasn't shown much skill at all during the matches. Therefore, it's better for Ego to take subs for our defense, as that's rare for Blue Lock players to even be good at, as they are actually strikers, right? That would mean Wanima, Neo or Durai are left. Wanima wouldn't be a good pick since his weapon only works when paired with his brother. And this dude doesn't usually speak, so how is he going to help exactly? Communication is so important in a football match, especially as a defender. Dirai and Neo are more experienced, having already played for the under-20 Japan team in multiple games representing the country. And they too have higher bids than Wanima. Their weapons of predictions and the Doberman charge are way better. So there you have it. Those are the Blue Lock players that made it. But to enjoy more football content, watch my video regarding the top 5 strikers in the world, where I explained their powers and stories.